Well, welcome to Conifer Area Council's November Town Hall meeting. Thank you so much for being here. A very special thanks to Core Electric Cooperative and to Christy and Tiffany from RE/MAX Alliance for their community support of tonight's meeting. So thank you all. A link will be available in the next day or two for you to view the meeting again and for others to view for the first time. So we do have recordings going on tonight, so you can watch it again tomorrow if you'd like.
That's why everybody's here.
Another thing I'd like to thank My Mountain Town. Sharon Troke is here. Am I ringing? Is this okay?
You are ringing a little, yes.
Okay, we'll try to keep it away a little bit here. So Sharon Troke is here with My Mountain Town. She's also videoing tonight. And Conifer Jazzercise has provided water. So there's coffee, water, and cookies in the back. Sorry about this. Okay, all of our speakers tonight have been asked just to present just the facts, not in support of or in opposition to any development, ballot issue, business or anything, and there will be no campaigning. So most of you have been here many times and you know that we have no comments, no questions during the presentations, and we're able to get a full hour of presentations, a lot of information in, and then at 8 o'clock we'll have an open house segment so you can go up and talk to all of the presenters and everybody else that's here. So thank you so much, and we'll get started. So what's going on around here? First of all, the Salvation Army is here tonight, Donna Beck. They raise money for our community every year, and Donna's going to talk about that. Donna.
Hello everyone, I'm Donna Beck, and I am with the Salvation Army here in Conifer, and we're getting ready to start our Red Kettle campaign. The only place we're ringing bells this year is at King Soopers. Everything else just kind of faded out last year. We do have virtual kettles and the little mini kettles stacked around the community in different places. But we are looking for people to help ring the bell at King Soopers. It's from 10 to 6, 7 days a week. We do have new QR codes this year for donations and to sign up for ringing the bell. The site we used last year with Salvation Army didn't work very well for us. Back by on the table as you came in where our red kettle is, there's some cards that have our QR codes. One side has the donations QR code, the other side is the sign up to ring QR code. We look forward to all of you participating with us because all the donations we receive through our Red Kettle campaign, 90% of them stay on the 285 corridor. And we help clients from Kenosha Pass to North Turkey Creek on the 285 corridor and 73 down to the North Turkey Creek Circle, and on and off the highway. Those are the people that we help, and all your dollars are so greatly appreciated by everyone that we are able to help. So do donate as much as you possibly can. If you get an envelope from Salvation Army headquarters, don't mail that check back in that envelope, because that goes to Denver and they keep it. But if you drop it in the Red Kettle or mail it to our post office box, which is also on the cards back by our kettle, if you mail it to our post office box, that money stays on the 285 corridor. So Angela's yelling at me that I need to shut up. So I guess I'll say good night to everyone, and I look forward to you helping us ring. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. And it actually is very fun to ring the bell and stand out in front. You see all your friends. So sign up if you can. That'd be great. So next we want to talk a little bit about Christmas in Conifer, the Christmas parade and everything. Beth Schneider, who is our director of the chamber, is here to talk about that. Beth.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you for having us tonight. So I'm really excited to be here tonight to talk to you about the Conifer Christmas Parade. It's on December 7th, And for those of you who haven't attended before, it's right there on Sutton Road, just along the road there, and actually it weaves through the neighborhoods, but the main event is on Sutton Road between the post office and the Aspen Park Community Center. And this year our theme is a season of stories. We're very excited about the standalone library coming to Conifer soon, and so we're honoring the library and involving them very much in our planning. So keep an eye out for fantastic books. There's going to be story time in one of the tents. The ambassadors from the fire department will be there as well to provide information. And we're also bringing back, first time to the parade, but we brought the Neighborhood Connections gatherings to Elevation Celebration, so we're bringing those to the parade. And this is a really great way to get to know your neighbors. Sometimes it's hard for us to connect up here, so it's an opportunity for you all you have to do is check in at one of the two tents, either at the Village tent or the Midway tent, and you get a pin with your neighborhood name on it. And that includes neighborhoods like all of Evergreen, all of Bailey, all of Pine, and otherwise it's broken down into the neighborhood communities within Conifer. And so there's a 30-minute time frame for you to gather and get acquainted with your neighbors. And the idea is, maybe the next Conifer parade, we can have a category for neighborhood floats. We just really want to provide an opportunity for you to get to know each other a little bit better. The event itself is, like I said, December 7th from 10:30 to 4:30, and the parade is at 2. So the neighborhood gatherings are between 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. You can just go to goconifer.com and check the events tab to get the details. So I hope to see you there.
Thank you, Beth. Okay, and she mentioned the new library, and we've got Jessica Paulson and Jared Johnson coming up next. Jessica is the Assistant Director of Library Public Services, and Jared is our new manager for the Conifer Library, and they're going to be talking about the library. Thank you, Shirley. Hi, everyone. It's good to see you again. I have the pleasure of introducing the new manager of Conifer Library, Jared Johnson. He's recently moved to our great stage, so please make him feel welcome. Let him say hi.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. I'm originally from Oklahoma, so I just recently moved here and really excited to be close to the mountains. I really love outdoor activities. I'm so excited to get to know the community here. I'm going to talk about a few programs that are happening at the Conifer Library. So we have some ornament decorating happening on December 1st. We provide the supplies, so it's primarily for kids, but so you can come out and do that. We're also doing some gingerbread house making as well, and those supplies will be provided as well. That'll be December 15th. And then we are going to do we have a community book swap that will start up, I think, in January. And with that program, you'll just bring a book and swap with other people that bring a book as well. So, yeah, really excited. And then Jessica is going to talk about the updates for the Conifer project.
Thank you. So you can go to those programs that Jared mentioned, Book It and Dean, the parade. So, keep that library theme going. I know you're all wondering about the new standalone library here in Conifer. We are still in the design phase, and we anticipate going for permits and things like that, either late this year or early January, and still planning to open sometime in the summer. So our timeline is holding. We're really excited about the progress so far. And if you want to stay up to date on that project, please just check out our website. There's an entire page dedicated to it, jeffcolibrary.org/Conifer-opportunity. You can also sign up for monthly emails on that page. So we send something in the middle of every month out to people who've signed up for that update. So if you have questions, Jared and I will be here afterwards. So come chat or say hi. Thanks for the time. Thank you. We're so excited for that new library. So next we have Ron Kilgore. He is our director for CORE Electric Cooperative, and CORE connects lives in our community through choice and innovation. So looks like he's got a PowerPoint here. Ron.
Thank you, Shirley. So what's going on at CORE these days? We are getting ready to do something that very few co-ops ever get a chance to do. And we've never done in our 79-year history, and that is we're going to start buying our own power. So it's kind of like if you could, instead of going to King Soopers or Safeway, you go to the farmer and get your power or get your flour or your meat. You control your food source, you control where you get it, you control when you get it, and you largely control what price you might pay. So that's the same thing that we're doing. The Freedom Day is 1 year from January 1st. So that may sound like a long time, but we've been working feverishly for almost 5 years for that day. Everybody's a little bit worried, a little bit scared, because it's kind of like you're taking the training wheels off. We've been relying on Auciello energy for our power for, I think, since about 1992. So that's going to be a new change, and we're excited about it. There's another change that is coming up that we're talking about, and honestly, I know we're not allowed to ask questions or give feedback. I want to present this to you, and I would love for you to tell me what you think. I don't even know what I think about it yet, so we're still really investigating that. So obviously safety is a priority in the mountain community. Our power lines run through the trees, run through the forest, run through the mountains, and we run in areas that are very, very rugged. So the core territory, at least in the mountains, go from south of Woodland Park all the way up. Believe it or not, we have Floyd Hill is also in our territory, in Evergreen. Bergen Park, Conifer, Deckers, down to Woodland Park. All this is in very high fire danger area. And it's really dangerous because it's almost the perfect storm. We've got mountainous terrain, we've got very dry grass in the summertime, we got high temperatures, and we have winds. These things all combine to make it a very difficult time. If you've lived here a while, you've been here for the Hayman fire, for the Quarry fire just last summer, although it upset our lives, but I don't think it burned any homes. The High Meadow, what's that other one? The Hayman fire, yeah, that's the one that almost burned my house. So we have long experience with that, and CORE does not want to be responsible for that. So far we haven't. None of those I list had anything to do with power lines, so that's good. But even if the power lines are perfectly installed, perfectly maintained, and working perfectly, if somebody releases a little mylar metal balloon and it goes in the power line and it arcs out, it can start a grass fire which burns up the forest. So, for that reason, we are thinking about doing something. Let me get to this slide in just a minute. Thinking about doing something that some of the California utilities are doing, and I know that sounds bad. Auciello is now doing it. But what we are doing to maintain our system is we're trimming trees like mad. Spend about $6 million in the Conifer area every year cutting trees that grow like weeds. If you've noticed, if you've built any new homes lately or new developments, most of that's now going underground. It's 2 or 3 times more expensive, but it's for this fire protection problem. The other thing we do is we actually watch the forecast. In fact, we're sometimes ahead of the National Weather Service. That's who calls these red flag days. Red flag days are days with low humidity, high winds, and they're basically ripe for wildfire. So we'll know that that's coming, and sometimes we predict it sooner than the Weather Service does. And what we do is we change the system. We change it to be much more sensitive, to turn off quickly, and to turn off and stay off. Now, that's a little bit cumbersome because before we turn it on, somebody has to walk these lines. And if you know where these lines go, sometimes you can drive by them, sometimes you can't. But oftentimes, it's a hike up the hill. So if they go off permanently, believe it or not, you're wondering why it takes a while. Somebody's got to walk these lines to make sure they're okay to turn back on, especially on red flag days. So what we're thinking about doing, the fancy term is PSPS. That stands for Public Safety Power Shutdown. So in California, when the Santa Ana winds are blowing, they turn the power off. And sometimes in California it would be off for a day or two. XL, you know, in conditions like the Marshall fire that happened 3 years ago now, they wish they had turned the power off. They didn't. And you know, there was a fire. It's still under investigation as to exactly what caused it. The lawyers are arguing, but XL is heavily involved in that litigation. Core has never done that. We've never turned the power off because it was going to be a bad day for weather. We're thinking about doing it, and we're trying to come up with the criteria that we'd use to do that. Now, it's not like we would go turn it off and wouldn't have notice. Usually we'd know 12 to 24, maybe 36 hours ahead of time, and we could communicate that. But I don't really know what I think about this, and I would love, if you have a strong feeling one way or the other, you're not going to offend me, because I just want to hear. In one side I say, you know, we don't want to cause fires even if our system's perfect. It still is a hazard. On the other hand, nobody likes their power to go off. So that's kind of what we're thinking. In December we're having a meeting to kind of start talking this. I don't know if we're going to end up doing it or not, but I would love to hear from you folks afterwards. Just, you know, thumbs up, thumbs down, do it, don't do it. We want our power, we don't want wildfires. You know, I'd really love to hear what you say. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Ron. So obviously we all seem to be talking about wildfire because it is all year round anymore. Rotary Wildfire Ready is doing so much regarding wildfire education and everything else. And tonight we just have a very short report by Thomas Schenk, who is one of our board members. He's just going to talk a little bit about how you can be involved if you would like to. Thomas.
This will be very short. Rotary Wildfire Ready is a group in Conifer, Bailey, and Evergreen with members on the community and the Rotary working together on wildfire prevention. Everyone is welcome to join if you're interested in that. I know of those of us who live up here are very interested in wildfires. We need more people from Conifer to represent us. There are 3 committees. The insurance committee is looking into what can be done to ensure we can all still buy insurance, which is a fast-growing problem. We're also looking into insurance rating companies because they're driving the denials and the rate increases. They use incorrect information, so we want to be able to correct them and still be on the same page with what will help. The safety committee, they work on getting wildfire spotting cameras on communication towers on Doubleheader, Conifer Mountain, Squaw Mountain, Bailey, by bringing together our power companies and our tower owners like the fire departments. Safety also works on evacuation routes and other issues. The final committee is the education committee. It runs the wildfire education website and app, and you can get any wildfire preparation information on www.rotarywildfireready.com. If you're interested in any of this, is there a Rotary wildfire people here?
Yes, of course.
Yes? And they're raising their hand back there. Please go back and talk with them, or you can go over here to our Conifer Wildfire Division and speak with them if you require further information. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. I know that Angela will sign you up if you want to. So everybody knows Angela, so that might help. Okay, so next we have Heather Gutherless, and she is the Planning Supervisor, Long Range Planning with Jeffco Planning and Zoning, and she's going to be talking about Conifer area development proposals.
Thanks, Shirley. Okay, good evening. We have quite a few updates for you tonight regarding some proposals that are ongoing in the Conifer area. So since September, we update these on a regular basis. There are now 28 cases that are ongoing in the Conifer 285 corridor area plan area. And tonight I'm giving you updates on a couple of new pre-applications and a few updates on rezoning and special use cases. As you can see, we don't have a whole lot of updates for community meetings, plats, or site development plans. So first I'm going to talk about the pre-applications. And as a reminder, the pre-application process is a very preliminary process. If somebody wants to do something with their property, or somebody is looking at buying a property, they can come into the county and submit a pre-application just kind of to see what are the chances, what are the big issues that might come up if they did want to submit a proposal. About 40 to 50% of these pre-application cases actually never move forward to a formal application because there might be things that people don't realize, well, they'll have to face as they go through the development process. So the first pre-application that I'm going to talk about is actually related to Core Electric. They came in not too long ago for a pre-application for what's called a location and extent, which is basically like a site planning process for governmental or quasi-governmental entities. They wanted to get a read from the county on some alternates for power line relocation, or actually I should get this right, electric overhead transmission and distribution lines near the Kings Valley area. And so that was one of the pre-applications that's come in recently. I do want to note that utilities follow some distinct policies in our comprehensive plan. They don't necessarily have to follow our land use categories. We have special policies just for utilities because they span so many properties typically. The next pre-application is near 285 and the Highway 73 Pleasant Park interchange. And it is a rezoning to, let's see, I try to do the little pointer thing and I don't seem to be successful. So, it's on the screen. There's a property that is just north of Kitty Drive, and they want to use existing Mountain Residential 3 zoning that allows for duplexes and subdivide the property into 5 two-family lots, so duplexes or single-family attached two-family homes. The property is split zoned. There is some agricultural 2 property, so the applicant may need to rezone if they are not able to configure their lots to accommodate that zoning. And so I wanted to put up here what the plan recommendation is. It is in a activity center, the Conifer Activity Center, and is recommended for limited commercial and or residential uses. Next, I'm going to move on to those rezoning and special use proposals. With the rezoning process, this is when somebody wants to change the allowed uses on their property. Special use is very similar to that, goes through a very similar process. And I just want to note that there are 3 key points throughout the process where public notification is done and where it is really the best times to get or give public comments on these cases. The first one is at the community meeting stage. So even before somebody has to can apply for a rezoning or special use, they have to do a community meeting. That's noticed, signs are on the property, postcards go out to a certain radius of the property to property owners, and then homeowners associations are also notified. Then when a formal application is made, that's another key point in the public process. Again, the notification goes out. There is not a meeting associated with that. But then, the last point in the process, there are 2 public hearings associated with both of these. Again, notice goes out to the same people that got it at the community meeting. And then there is a planning commission hearing and a Board of County Commissioners hearing. At both of those, there's opportunity for people to submit written testimony. We have hybrid meetings, so you can attend virtually or you can attend in person and give public testimony. I'm going to go a little bit out of order from the information in the sheets because of some properties that are very close to each other and also because of high interest cases. So this first one is very close to that pre-application that I was just talking to you about. It is near Kitty Drive, just north of there. It also is split zoned, but they have a bigger difference in the split zoning. So they want to rezone the property to more of a suburban residential 1 acre minimum lot size use in order to be able to legalize the existing house that's on the property, basically make it so that it can continue to exist. It is in the Conifer Activity Center. Limited commercial and residential uses are recommended. And then going on to some high interest cases. I know that the Shadow Mountain Bike Park is a very high interest case. It recently went to public hearing before the Board of County Commissioners, and it was denied by the Board of County Commissioners on November 12th. The next case that I want to talk about also is in the middle of the hearing process. It went to the Planning Commission recently, but there is the Board of County Commissioners on December 10th, and this is in the Hilldale Pines area. The property is requesting to rezone from MR2 to MR1. So that's a difference of lot sizes, basically. And the Planning Commission did recommend approval, and like I said, it's going to the Board of County Commissioners on December 10th. Then the next two rezoning cases are in the Pine Grove area. And this first one, it also just recently went through the hearing process. It was approved by the Board of County Commissioners on November 12th. There's a little shop right now that sells goods, sells drinks and food for people to consume, but because of water restrictions that were in place on the site at the time, they were not able to have people on premises, serve people on premises. They wanted to be able to do that. There was a lot of community support for this. There was no opposition at the hearings, so the Board of County Commissioners did approve it on November 12th. Then, just a little bit to the west of that property, there's another rezoning proposal in Pine Grove, north of Highway 126 or Pine Valley Road. And the property is zoned commercially, but it is a residence, and so the person wants to rezone the commercial property to allow the existing residence that's already there. The last rezoning that I wanted to talk about is near the interchange of 285 and Richmond Hill Road. It is off of Shady Hill Circle. And the proposal is to rezone the property from A2 to A1. So that would be a 10-acre lot size to a 5-acre minimum lot size. And it's 22.86 acres. So that could allow up to 4 units. Thank you, somebody doing math for me. And the plan recommendation is actually 1 dwelling unit per 5 acres as long as certain wildfire policies in the plan are met. That concludes the development cases, but I did want to talk about the Together Jeffco project. As a reminder, the Together Jeffco process includes revisions to several county plans and also regulations. And those are all listed up there. Want to give some good news about this process. The Community Wildfire Protection Plan update was adopted by the Board of County Commissioners, as was the Evacuation Annex, which is supplemental to the Countywide Emergency Management Plan. So we're very excited to see the first two plans adopted. Our comprehensive plan and our transportation and mobility plan are a little bit delayed right now, and we're working through some internal staff comments that we wanted to really get polished up before we go back out to the community. We are also working on the regulation revisions still, but those are also a little bit delayed from the rest of the process. But yay for the Community Wildfire Protection Plan and EA. It's very exciting. That is everything I have tonight.
Thank you. Heather's been working so hard on all of that. Heather, you're amazing. Thank you. So I'm sure most of you know that there's some really exciting things happening at Beaver Ranch. And we've got Carly, project manager with Open Space. She's going to be talking about Beaver Ranch Park Trailhead Improvement Project. We've got other people here that can talk about it at the open house. Carly?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Carly. I'm with Jefferson County Open Space, here to share some updates on the Beaver Ranch Park Improvements Project. My colleague Elizabeth was here in April at your meeting to provide a quick overview and a schedule, and we will build from there. Oh, also, we do have a project website, and we have a couple cards over at our table if you want to grab one to make sure you have the website or use the QR code. We also have an email address. You're welcome to email us your comments and feedback. So we'll have that over at the table. To point it to you. Okay. Okay, here we are. I'm sure you're all familiar with this park, but this is just to orient us. Beaver Ranch Park is a Jeffco open space park in Conifer, just off South Foxton Road and 285. It's 446 acres. I wanted to start with the schedule before we look at the designs, so you can put the designs in context of where we are with the project. We just today actually reached a 60% milestone of design, which means we're more than halfway through the process. We are planning to finalize design in spring of 2025, and we are going to start construction in summer of 25. This project is a design-build format, so that means our construction contractor is already looped into the project, a part of the project, which is a benefit for moving quickly from design into construction. Okay, so back to our overall park, and you can see this red box here gives the overall project area that we'll see in the next few slides. So that's about the area of the red box previously. These are existing conditions. So we have the event field up front toward Foxton Road. We have the BRCI maintenance buildings toward the front. We have Casto Creek and the Casto Creek Trail. We have the event center further into the park next to the Beaver Ranch disc golf course. Further into the park we have the existing Bark Park and the TP Lodge. So this graphic here, this is the same scale as what we're just looking at to see the design improvements in context. So at the front of the park, the flat event field, that's going to be our main trailhead area. So that's really the Jeffco open space trailhead, where we'll have a trailhead kiosk and restrooms and a picnic shelter. That's also the area where the new playground will be built. The new off-leash dog loop will be accessed from that main trailhead parking lot. We are also going to have what we're calling a park operations hub in the same location as the current building. There will be a new maintenance building for BRCI and a home to our future RAD program. We also, further into the park, we are going to be formalizing parking at the disc golf and event center. In addition, the disc golf pro shop is going to move from across Coyote Creek to be adjacent to the parking area there. And then we just have a couple other small pieces of our project scattered throughout the park, like doing some restoration in Coyote Creek and adding a couple new bridges in places where the bridges need some attention. Wanted to show this diagram quickly because this helps to tie the thread back to our master plan. We did a master plan process back in 2017, and one of the main design directives from that master plan was to limit vehicular access into the heart of the park. So this diagram with the 3 pink locations, those are 3 different gates into the park. The park closure gate at the front will function just like a normal Jeffco open space gate, but the important one here is at the bottom where it's the restricted access gate, and that is going to be a change in operation from current use, where past the event center, the only vehicles that will be driving there are BRCI vehicles, Jeffco vehicles, and the zipline shuttle. So we really wanted to focus all of our amenities toward the front of the park, which is really helpful for clarity of visitation and management. I'll go through these quickly. These are the graphics that we showed at our October 23rd public open house. So, and we, just so you know, we have these posted on our website as well, and we have a few small printed printouts over there if you want to look after this. This is a zoom into the main trailhead area. You can see the parking. It's about 100 parking spots. The off-leash dog loop, playground, etc. Here's a rendering of the same area. And the event center and disc golf parking. So as you can see at the end of that paved area, that's the restricted access zone. This is exciting. This is the playground. We have a great concept for this. We have more information about it on our website as well, and we'll keep you posted on progress there. This is funded separately from the rest of our project, and we can tell you about that. Rendering of the future playground. One of the driving concepts behind this playground is universal inclusivity, which is a pretty exciting thing to be bringing to this community. Last thing, sorry Angela, one quick plug. There's been a lot of interest in the dog park, the changing of the bark park to the off-leash dog loop. If you're interested in joining a future public meeting about that specifically, please sign up with us at the table over there. Thank you.
Thanks, Carly. Lots of exciting things happening there. So next, we have a presentation about the science behind wildfire mitigation in our Jeffco open space parks. Tony is the Natural Resources Team Lead with Open Space. Tony.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for having me. Like said, my name is Tony Auciello. I'm the Natural Resources Team Lead. We have a ton to cover. When I was here earlier this year, we talked about a lot of the different things Jefferson County and Jeffco Open Space were doing to reduce fire risk throughout the county. But since then, we've continued to do our work, and there's a big difference between talking about thinning a forest and then really seeing the heavy equipment on the ground and sometimes the dramatic changes that occur in our forests. So I just really appreciate this opportunity to come and kind of explain a lot of the science and reasoning behind what we're doing. Jefferson County Open Space was started in 1972 by a voter referendum. And in the last 50 plus years, we've accumulated we've preserved and protected some incredible resources that you see on the screen. What's not up there is some of our really cool biological features, especially our forest ecosystems and some of the ecological services that they provide. Low on the battery. Can you manually click me forward?
It's cutting into your time.
I know. Time out. Yeah, when it does come up, what we're going to be looking at is an organization chart of the natural resources team. So that's a sub-team within open space that's actually directed with stewarding all of those natural resources we have in our parks. What I would be showing you is out of the 18 full-time employees that we have on the natural resources team, only 3 of them are foresters. The rest are wildlife ecologists. We just hired a wetland ecologist. We have a noxious weed management team. So when we're doing these projects, we really see them as natural resource projects, not just removing a bunch of trees. Catch up. Yeah, so there we were. So some quick ponderosa pine ecology. Wildfire used to be a huge part of our ecosystem out here in Colorado. Fires would burn every 5 to 30 years in a lot of these areas. What happened, as you see kind of in the middle picture though, is that they were really low intensity fires. They mostly took out seedlings and saplings, and in general, they weren't able to create enough heat to get through our naturally fire resistant, not proof, but fire resistant ponderosa pines. So we had a lot of fires, they came through frequently, low intensity, and they really created this open landscape. How in the heck do we know that though? I was sure that this heck wasn't here. Historical photos are a great way to see that. So this Sphinx Rock is highlighted here in the yellow star, and you can see the difference in 100 years of fire suppression. Here's another photo showing a little over 100 years of fire suppression. This one was taken in Jefferson County as well. On the right, right under the 2000, you can really see what we like to call the carpet of green. And that's what's really developed through a lot of our county and really through a lot of the Front Range. These aren't just pictures from some random person though, especially these were actually from Merrill Kaufman's study throughout the entire Front Range. So we can talk about that some more. But pictures don't always tell the full story, right? Some of these pictures were taken after settlement. So how else can we know about fire history, how often these fires used to burn? Scientists will actually look back through tree rings, and you can see burn scars from fires that have occurred in the past, and the tree survived. So when we drill in, we can actually get a very similar readout without having to cut the tree down, which is really useful. And that's exactly what Peter Brown did in his study that he did throughout the Front Range. He cored trees all over and put together a really incredible fire history of our Front Range areas. That turned into this general technical report, which then turned into a field guide for managing old ponderosa pines in our forest. So that's how we know the history. Okay, cool. So fire used to take care of things. What happened? European fire exclusion. So about 150, 160 years ago, European settlers began to show up in mass, and with them they brought the era of fire suppression to the West. A lot of that was just actively putting out fires. Some of that was unintentional through the introduction of grazing, which had huge influences on the fire ecology. And then more and more information is coming out of the incredible amount of burning that the indigenous peoples of this area used to do. We have documentation going back many thousands of years, and oral history going back over 10,000 years with some of these tribes. With that lack of fire, though, we stopped getting that cleansing process. And when we're having a fire that often, we have actually missed out on between 5 and 30 of these cleansing fires that used to happen on our ponderosa pine stands. And every one of those seedlings and saplings that almost entirely would have been removed by fire has now grown up and turned into a full-size tree. How do we know that? There's a plethora of scientific research out there. We have all of these documents at our table. We'd love to talk with you about any of these or share them. So we'd love to talk about that. Cool. So our forests are unhealthy. We need to do something. We can't bring fire back necessarily because our forests now would burn so intensely, so we need to do some management. But where out in this carpet of green are we going to start working? We have very limited resources. In 2019, Jefferson County Open Space decided to revamp our forest health plan. We knew we didn't want to do it alone though, so we reached out to some of our partners, in particular Colorado Forest Restoration Institute, and then the Forest Stewards Guild, who is now the Ember Alliance. And if you participated in any of the CWPP updates that have been going on throughout the county, Ember Alliance is helping run those, so a really reputable firm. We're not going to get into this slide, I promise, but what the Forest Health Plan helped us do with stakeholders throughout the county, throughout the region, really, we reached out to U.S. Forest Service, state, local firefighters, things like that. We came up with these highly valued resources and assets, and then we were also prioritized them, weighted them, in different relative importance. Wildlife is super important to me. Life safety is a little bit more important, so we didn't want those to read out the same in our model. What that model then gave us was many things, but this chart was particularly useful, and it really basically broke down our parks from who had the most, It created this chart which broke out the wildfire risk per park. I'm stumbling here a little bit, excuse me. This let us know if we could only treat 1 acre, which acre would have the most influence on those resources. It's not necessarily what's going to reduce the flame length the most or something like that. But out of all of these resources that we identified on the previous page, if we can only go to 1 acre to protect them, where should we go? If you look, it kind of showed, not a giant surprise, most of that work needs to occur kind of along the 285 Evergreen corridor. I am not moving forward anymore. Oh, so close. All right, so we need to cut. The Forest Health Plan told us where to go, but tell me, why in the heck do you guys have to cut so much? It's a very valid question. The first and most obvious reason is wildfire. Our forests have changed, they don't burn like they used to, and if we don't do something, we're going to face the fires that we've all been seeing in the news, the havens, the things like that. What people don't think about as often is our understory, our native grasses and plant forbs and shrubs evolved with that open canopy. A lot of our understory is actually suffering because of these overly dense forests. And then the wildlife that counts on that for habitat and for food sources is also suffering. One question we get a lot, is our work actually reducing fire danger? Over here we have what we call the fire triangle. These are the 3 main things that contribute to wildfire intensity. We can only control one of those. We can control the fuels. And just like a campfire, the more fuel you put into the fire, the bigger it's going to get. It's not just theory though. This is an article, a summary of research that came out, looked back at 30 years of forestry thinnings, and then the wildfires effects that have gone through that. And in general, it showed really significant reductions in fire risk because of treatments. Of course, like all things in nature, there's some complexities to that. There's actually been a lot of misunderstanding about this topic. So much so that this article was put out by Susan Pritchard, and we have this at our table as well. It's 10 common myths and misunderstandings around fire mitigation. So we really encourage you to check that out if you're questioning any of this. It's a fantastic document. But that's relying on a lot of scientists, and I get that. If you really want to know if our work is reducing fire risk, ask the men and women in the back, that's it, okay, who are fighting our fires. They will tell you if they would rather fight a fire in our treatments or in an untreated area. Are we making things hotter and drier? This is another very valid question. These are two of the papers that have been cited the most, kind of with that topic. The first one does actually say in some situations we can increase wind speed in a treatment. That does happen sometimes, absolutely. But again, if you ask the firefighters in the back of the room, would they rather have a fast, low-intensity fire or a slower crown fire, destroying it, in an untreated area? I think you can decide which one they're going to get. Again, I really encourage you to look back at this 10 common questions. JCO's treatment versus private property. WILDFIRE does not look like what the fire department or even the insurance companies recommend you do at your house. How come we get to do something different? Great resource for that is the Home Ignition Guide. And if you look at the chart on the left, you can see how they break it down into 3 zones of protection. The area we're working in is usually far beyond zone 3. When we are working right next to homes or other structures, we will tailor our work to look a lot more like these HIZ treatments. What about all the fuel we leave? I get letters about this all the time. You said you'd cut these trees to reduce fire risk, but you left a dead tree out there. These dead trees are actually incredibly vital wildlife components of our treatments. As the trees decay, they get filled with insects. That becomes almost a buffet for a lot of our wildlife. As cavity-creating animals come in, especially woodpeckers and things like that, they're creating homes in there. This dead tree is almost a hotel now as well for our wildlife. We leave a lot of wood on the ground too. That is definitely something we get a lot of questions about. This describes the benefits that all of that woody debris has to pollinators. I need to fly through my slides because I wasted a bunch with them not going down. But there's a lot of science supporting that. These 5-minute science you can uses are amazing. What about all these things you didn't talk about, Tony? That's where this comes in. Everyone else on the natural resources team other than the 3 foresters. That's what they're working on. But who's checking on them? It's not just Jeffco Open Space. These are numerous partners that we work with throughout the county to develop our projects, to inspect our projects. We host field trips. We're not out there doing this alone. And this is the final image I wanted to leave you with. On the left my left is the Elephant Butte burn scar. Almost complete mortality, and 4 years later, very little undergrowth. In the back, that open area is our treatment at Alder for 3 Sisters. We get to choose, that treatment isn't perfect. We know there were things that we could do better. We're trying to do better as we move forward. But I will take WILDFIRE every single day over Elephant Buttes, and I think that's the choice we're up against. If you have any more questions, please come and ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Very informative. Thank you very much. Okay, next we have State Representative Tammy Story for a brief presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tammy Story. I'm your state representative for House District 25. It includes the Conifer, Evergreen area, all of the Jeffco foothills south of I-70, and then a portion of unincorporated Littleton around the Chatfield High School articulation area. Currently, we are in the interim period. So we are not in session. We go back into session early January, and then it runs for 120 days until early May. So in that time, we will be down at the Capitol working on policy, and then we go back into the interim again after session's over next May. But that doesn't mean we're not working. We're still working. We work with stakeholders on policy and have meetings with constituents. I've done a number of coffee meetings and happy hours and so forth. We'll hopefully do another 1 or so of those before we hit January. But we continue to be very busy when we're in the interim period. So I wanted to just cover just a little bit about the budget. If you have heard, the governor released his budget proposal, I believe it was November 1st, and that is the governor's, if you will, wish list of how he wishes we would spend the anticipated budget that we have to spend for the next fiscal year, that's 25 to 26. So that's the major thing that we have to do during our session. When we go back in January, we will be working towards creating a budget for that next fiscal year. And the issues with this coming fiscal year is that the budget is going to be incredibly tight. And there are a number of reasons for that. One of those happens to be that we have the loss of one-time funding that we have been enjoying since the 2020-21 fiscal year. That had a lot to do with federal funds that were coming on the heels of COVID. And so we were able to have those disbursements from the federal government, which allowed us to sort of reallocate resources, financial resources, to other priorities while we had this additional federal funding. But that funding is now depleted, so we go back to sort of our regular funding. We also have, due to annual growth factors, they're also down. Inflation is down, which is great, but the amount of revenue that the state can utilize is based on population growth and inflation. So when inflation is lower, then that means we have less money in general to spend. And the final one is that we also continue to have upward pressure on the budget due to other things, including Medicare and Medicaid expenses, and increasing caseloads, so those expenditures have to be made, and so that leaves less money for the state to spend on other priorities. So it will make it challenging for us in the legislature coming up to be able to move forward with anything that has any kind of a fiscal note. So you may be seeing policy come forward, but in general, much of that will not have a fiscal note tied to it because we just don't have the additional revenue to build out programs, expand them, or build in new programs. Let's see, what else can I tell you? We are working towards committee assignments. We don't have those yet, so I don't especially know yet what committees I will be serving on. But I hope to still be on the House Education Committee and potentially a second committee, and then also continuing my work with the Capital Development Committee, where we address all the capital needs of all the state buildings across Colorado. That includes all of our Department of Corrections, so all of our state public prisons across the state, also all of our state parks, their buildings and their parking lots, all of the capital complex buildings like the state capitol, the Department of Revenue, Department of Education. There's a couple of support buildings on both sides, north and south of the Capitol, that are state buildings. And then additionally, all of our institutions of higher education that are public, both our four-year as well as our community colleges. And so all of the buildings there. So we work on addressing the needs that all of those agencies, departments have, and then we have to prioritize which ones make the cut list in order to be funded, and generally we have many more requests than we can generally fund, and but we do the best we can with the financial resources we have at hand. And I am about to wrap up, and I appreciate you all being out here tonight, and feel free to stop by and have a chat. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Tammy. So Senator Mark Baisley is at a conference, so he is unable to come tonight, but we do have a report that he wanted to give. It's a very short report. Kurt Keisler, who is our Conifer Area Council Vice President, is going to give that report.
Senator Baisley represents a lot of flyover counties. He's got 8 of them, including Jeffco, it's Lake, Park, Tiller, Fremont, Douglas, Custer, and Chaffee. He's our District 4 representative. This is a season when state legislators engage the legal services at the Capitol to write our bills for the upcoming session. Most of Senator Bailey's bills are utilitarian in nature and originate from the county commissioners and sheriffs in his district. Senator Bailey's bills include exempting county governments from liability for crimes committed by county employees, removing current laws that restrict law enforcement from working with the federal government regarding criminals and gang members who are suspected to be in the country illegally, and protection of privacy data held by public institutions like research universities. At the next town hall meeting, Senator Bailey will describe the details of his property tax bill.
And Leslie Dahlkemper, our county commissioner, also was unable to be here tonight, but she has a report, an update from the county.
And Commissioner Dahlkemper, again, represents, she's our District 3 commissioner. Virtually everything on the south half of Jefferson County, all the unincorporated areas, virtually from I-70 south and bordered on the east by approximately Sheridan Road. Leslie regrets that she could not attend tonight's town hall due to a previously scheduled community meeting on housing, but she sent us an update, and there are 6 pieces here. First of all, thank you to Jeffco voters who approved County Measure 1A by 57%. The measure eliminates revenue caps like most counties have already done. These funds will be used for public safety, wildfire, resiliency, roads and infrastructure, and mental health. The county is developing a strategic process for how the dollars will be allocated, including public engagement. More details to come. The second, Jefferson County taxpayers will soon receive a TABOR refund check in the mail. I got mine yesterday. In 2023, Jefferson County received approximately $30.5 million in revenue above the TABOR revenue limit. The county only collects the amount it is authorized to collect. The county then refunds money over the TABOR cap to 211,000 property taxpayers this year. Please be sure to cash your TABOR check. They cannot be used by the county. The third is something that Heather already mentioned. This is the county wildfire protection plan. County commissioners recently approved the county's new wildfire protection plan, the CWPP, thanks to those of you who weighed in with feedback, including our fire chiefs. The plan looks at fuel treatments, prescribe burns, and roadside fuel treatments. It will also develop a Jeffco wildfire program and expand wildfires safe, similar to Boulder's Wildfire Partners program. We're hopeful this will assist with homeowners' insurance rates and more mitigation grants for homeowners. Closer? Okay. Sorry. The new CWPP also expands Jeffco's Wildland Urban Interface, or WUI, to 91% of county, increases /management, and enhances evacuation preparedness. Thanks to Jeffco Fire Management Officer Brian Keating for leading the effort. The third, with increased cold and snowy weather, many of us may be concerned for members of our community who are unhoused. Please visit the Heading Home website to learn more about community resources in Jeffco. That will be also posted on our video that Christy is doing. The website is headinghomejeffco.com. 2 more. Jeffco Public Health has hired a new mountain area navigator who lives in the area to assist with public health issues in the community. More on this in a future town hall. And the last, please apply to serve on Jeffco boards and commissioners. Service through Jefferson County's volunteer boards and commissions is a great way for Jeffco residents to provide valuable input and make a positive impact in our community. The Board of County Commissioners appoints more than 300 citizens to serve on boards and commissions covering a wide variety of issues. The deadline to apply is next Monday, November 25. Visit jeffco.us for more.
Thank you, Kurt. I would like to make an announcement. Conifer Area Council has a new updated website. We're very excited about it. Not only does it talk about who we are, what we do, and what we've accomplished, but there is also information about proposed development, area issues, and so much more. We really are excited about it. I'd like to thank Dave Peterson with Marketing Type Guys. He is our webmaster, and Kurt Keisler, who was just up here, who put a lot of work into that, for their hard work on getting this accomplished for us. So please go to our website. I think you'll find it very beneficial. So I hope we can see all of you, even those from other places other than Conifer, at the Christmas parade and all the festivities that we've got going on during the holidays. We also would love to see you at our next town hall meeting, which will be February 19th, 2025. Please tell all of your friends and neighbors, because we'd love to have them all here. And I would like to last again thank Core Electric Cooperative and Tiffany and Christy from RE/MAX Alliance for their community support of tonight's meeting. So please stick around. We've got a lot of people here you can talk to, a lot of questions you can ask, a lot of information that you can pick up. And we really appreciate Open Space, especially for coming. You've got a lot of people here from Open Space, and you've done so many things in the Conifer area that we appreciate so much. So please come and talk to them and get information from them. And also, Commander Joshua Eveslage, I didn't say that right, who is here from the Sheriff's Office, is here if you'd like to speak to him. So thank you so much for coming, and we hope to see you around in the next couple months. Thank you.